scared of a Phantom Lancer, though, I feel like. I think Phantom Lancer is...
I mean, Gyro deals with Phantom Lancer better compared to
just-
Anti-Mage.
Then maybe they're planning on picking up Storm. There we go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Storm coming through to the Disruptor ban.
I'm kind of
course.
surprised that Queen of Pain is also still in the pool. And I wouldn't be surprised to see that picked up by Eom still. Or by lesser extent EG. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Ehome not taking any chances this time. The Rubik was left open, so they're going to try to secure that one.
It's a lot of good spells to steal from these three heroes already. Ball Lightning and anything from Tusk is really good as well. They have a very solid support to start up so that the Leshrac can follow up with a stun. And just all in all, very good support to gank the Leshrac's lane as well. That's like the primary objective of the three heroes they have right now. So I would expect Storm to have quite a hard time in the lane. Like, he has to be very careful not to get ganked by the supports. Once they're missing, he has to be very safe. And usually EG would respond with a defensive support to deal with that from PPD.
Witch Doctor still in the pool. Treant Protector. Who knows? Skywrath. I haven't seen a lot of
Aoi's
Skywrath
hero.
this game.
Skywrath
You want to have spell damage against Cold Embrace. I mean, technically it's a good counter towards Cold Embrace because he's not moving, but he takes spell damage. So Mystic Flare would be devastating towards that target.
I mean, does that validate it enough? Those in the past couple of days, you guys have been saying not really convinced by Skywrath Mage at this tournament.
I think it's usually because of other variables that Skywrath hasn't won as much. In theory, it should work really well, though. I mean, maybe against like Null Field plus Cold Embrace, it might be difficult to burst through that.
Okay.
But generally, it's like Skywrath Mage's ult doesn't really scale, right? Whereas Cold Embrace, the more HP you get, the more HP you heal from Cold Embrace. So as the game goes later and later, it actually almost doesn't outdo the damage, especially when you have a hero like Anti-Mage. Which is probably why they made it out, too. It's good versus...
Now, do you think CTY is going to be playing the Leshrac, or are they going to give Young the Leshrac and pick up a Bloodseeker?
I think
For
if you want
CTY.
to play aggressively against the Storm, you want Leshrac to lane against Storm, so you open up a lot of possibilities that your support can just roam in and get a kill on a Storm, since Leshrac would more or less always keep the Storm at half HP from the harass.
From lightning, yeah.
So it would actually make it easier for your supports to find a window of opportunity to come in and just get a kill.
I'm surprised Bloodseeker is making it through this far.
Yeah, we see the Darkseer Wyvern combo. I mean, I don't feel like Evil Genius is really that vulnerable to it, though. It's generally when they have... Winter's Curse is pretty large range, but the radius is actually pretty tiny. I guess maybe with Vacuum, but they have pretty mobile heroes. Like, Skywrath generally sits very far back. Stormspear can zip all the way back to your own line of supports. Gyrocopter with Flak and Tusk, he can stay back or snowball if he feels like he's in danger. So I like the combo a lot, but versus this lineup, it may be hard to pull off.
Do you like Omni Knight with Storm this game for PPD? Against
I think it's pretty good. I don't like it versus Rubik, though. I think it's a problem. Like, if you ever held Leshrac...
It's pretty good versus, like, Winter's Curse, you have the Guardian Angel.
It is.
And the Repel will be definitely helpful against Leshrac and the supports as well, the Rubik, the Darkseer.
Yeah, as long as he can get the Rubik out of the way, I think it's actually
Yeah,
a
but
really
it's
good pick.
risky against Rubik, though. You might... I mean, you're going to give away something big. Like, all the 3 spells are very, very useful for Rubik.
Yeah.
Well, earlier today, Cloud9 decided not to ban out anybody. Was thinking maybe EG decided that too, but let it go very late, and it's Bristleback.
Bristle has come up in discussion and, of course, in game a couple times, but nowhere near...
I mean, Omni Gyro is also just really scary. You don't need to repel the Storm, although it makes his life so much easier. He can just almost instantly kill one of the supports or blow multiple cooldowns. I do like that option over the other defensive options. Tree is like so-so
There's
versus...
Darkseer and Edict, so...
Yeah. Arctic Burn even, and it doesn't seem as strong. And also, like, I don't think the root is that great here. What other ones are there?
I don't think you can you consider
There's still Abaddon.
Lion. I'm not sure how defensive. Like maybe not as defensive, but he has good disables at least. And they're kind of lacking on that department again. Who knows? They don't have a lot of time left, so.
Yeah, I mean, they already used a lot of their reserve time earlier.
Well, Nyx Assassin.
And Nyx Assassin.
Is that the first time he's picked to this tournament? Because I can't remember writing his name
say
down.
yes.
And I'm writing all the names down.
Because
so I think so, yeah.
almost every time we bring up Nyx Assassin, we're like, well, we're surprised we haven't seen it yet.
It's a very good answer to Leshrac. And again, the one that's been most explored is Anti-Mage, but Nyx Assassin I think is very, very good. He's also very good for Darkseer. Like, you can almost get a guaranteed Carapace against Ion Shell, and Darkseer has very, very high intel. Also, just a ton of magic damage to burst, and overall, he just causes like a lot of chaos in the fight. There's like so much stuff flying around. There's like a Storm Spirit zipping around, there's Call Down, there's like snowballs and ice shards. It's very hard to position yourself to not get hit by all those spells on top of a Earth Spike.
Yeah, they have a lot of pick-off potential between the Nyx, the Storm, and the Tusk as well. So a lot of ganking opportunities would arise for all those heroes. So eHome has Darkseer plus the Wyvern combination, so they might want to gear towards more team fight to avoid getting picked off by those heroes.
Yeah, they have great synergy with Skywrath now. I was like a little worried. It's like, okay,
And
Storm
Ember could
Spirit
fit.
is...
Oh,
Okay, that's
Another
that's
first.
big team fight. That is big team fight.
Luna also
Yeah.
not picked before.
Yeah, Luna definitely the first time here at TI5. Winter, I mean, with the Luna there, of course, just rounding out the team fight, as you said, composition. But overall, how do you feel about that lineup versus EG's?
I mean, both of them have their distinctive plans towards how they want to approach the game. I would say EG again has a much more flexible draft. They can team fight and they can split push with Storm and Gyro. Yeah. But this game, their spells to spam to defend and push out lanes are not as great as the last game. They only have the ice shards, and Impale is just average at defending lanes. So I think eHome would have a much better game this time around when they're sieging the towers and forcing to take fights.
At the same time, is this a similar scenario where if we get later into the game and eHome kind of misses their combo once or something and EG takes big advantage of that and creates chaos, that EG can just kind of run over the game? And we've had that happen with quite a few other matches.
I think their lineup's also like pretty decent with BKB, and EG's is vulnerable to mass BKB, so I don't think they'll run into as many problems.
Yeah,
And
this
I think
draft
they're-
is much better overall.
All right, well, let's find out. It is game 2 between EG and eHome.
Because eventually the Rubik and the Winter Wyvern are going to leave. So if you just go and gank YJ,
Right.
who I've only seen play like Razor this entire tournament, if you think about it, right? Then it's such a weak hero early game. Like, you have to abuse it really early on.
All right. Well, welcome into the mainstream. Evil Geniuses versus eHome, game number 2. Blitz and I were talking about it, and we really feel like eHome, if they could just clean up their game a little bit, we could have a very epic game on our hands here. But that's kind of what we've been saying the whole entire time, right? Is that eHome seemed to look near flawless in some of their early game where they have this plan, they're executing it very well, and then they just seem to make very simplistic mistakes.
Yeah, two things. I don't want to take anything away from EG last game. Like, they played that game absolutely phenomenally.
Yeah.
Like, the way that they recovered, they did that so well.
The
So
bait out from the
Yeah, that
Universe
was
Sumail bait out
absurd.
was next level.
But the reason why it sounded like we were eHome biased or trying to keep eHome in the game is not that I'm biased towards eHome, but it's more that in all of eHome's games that we've casted, they come so close to winning. Like, they play really well, and then something just seems to slip. It almost feels like they're a top-tier team for the first 15 minutes, and then something in them just mentally breaks.
Yeah.
And it's just disappointing to see.
And also, you can tell in a lot of games that eHome are facing up against, they are struggling to keep up or stay ahead, right? Like, the natural resting phase a lot of the times results in teams just being able to slowly but surely get ahead of eHome via out-farming them.
Yeah. So EG, absolutely dominant. I think in general, the way that we focus our cast for people that are just tuning in is we still want to make the game closer, at least be able to praise both teams equally, if not try to highlight some of the things that the losing team is doing well, despite their loss. But Sumail versus CTY mid, I'm really excited to see this just because I don't know how Sumail's possibly going to win this lane. Like, in my opinion, this just isn't a winnable lane, and I'm really surprised that eHome was willing to give Sumail Storm, because that's the third time I think I've seen eHome lose to Storm. It seems like it's a hero they struggle with, but they must feel really supremely confident in CTY's ability to beat it mid.
I mean, it is a quite one-sided matchup, right? I mean, most of the intelligence mids that face up against Leshrac are naturally going to lose. This is Storm Spirit. He has no escape mechanism. So Leshrac is just going to be able to spam out a lot of lightning bolts, and they will always bounce to Sumail because whenever you're up against Leshrac, it's all about the mid vision, right? especially during the nighttime phase, CTY is just going to be able to spam out lightning over and over again. It just like will constantly bounce to Sumail because he's got vision over the cliff, even during nighttime.
Yeah, he actually just narrowly misses that stun, and if it had connected, CTY probably would have walked away with the first blood, but part of the problem too with Storm, I guess, is just the low amount of move speed that you have makes the Lightning Storm even more powerful, but that's my always 1 minute analysis of Storm in the very beginning of games where he's picked. And focusing on the other lanes, Universe at top, I think PPD actually went over there and helped him. And if you look in this mid lane too.
So here's what he did. If you look at the tier 2 tower area, Tuskar can actually sit here and be able to throw ice shards.
Look at
in a
PPD.
circle.
He's actually just dragging the creeps. I've seen this done before, but I think this might be my first seeing it in a pro game. And PPD farming out the jungle, and he's actually making this lane winnable now for Sumail, as he took away a full lane of creeps from CTY.
Yeah, he's basically next leveling the support Tusk. He gave Universe a pretty decent lane. Unfortunately, he's going to die now, though. That's going to be our first blood. Goes to DDC. We'll grab his boots up. So it looks like Universe just a bit too far forward. But he set up the lane for the creep equilibrium to push forward very early on, and now he's actually helping to win the middle lane. So this is probably why EG felt maybe a bit confident about the Storm Spirit versus Leshrac matchup, because they have this sort of ace in the hole.
Yeah, this is really neat. I like that. It's one of the ways to deal with Leshrac. And if you can actually get any sort of stacks up for Sumail, it would help a lot. But kudos to PPD for being able to actually pull it off. And in this mid lane, Lanem looks like they want to push the lane in, but PPD is just waiting. I think he actually senses that something's going to happen, and he's going to run into the Rubik right here. But this shouldn't mean a kill or anything like that, but it does mean that
PPD may just walk him out here. Yeah, he'll get some more right clicks. Lanem just buys himself time with the telekinesis. There is still the snowball. Maybe PPD can actually pick up the skill, especially when he gets in front of Lanem for another extra right click. A snowball? No, he decides against it. CTY is there, ready to go with the splitter, and that would just be a bit too dangerous.
Yeah, and this top lane, Universe still has to be careful because Winter Wyvern, the Arctic Burn, deals so well with most offlaners, and the amount of